Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're really focusing in, cutting through the noise to give you the essential roadmap for what's being called the future-ready pharma enterprise.
That's right. Our sources are showing this major shift, pharmaceutical companies moving beyond these, well, frankly, outdated legacy systems
Towards what exactly?
towards building these really intelligent, agile ecosystems.
Mhm.
And they're leveraging next generation technology to do it. It's a complete overhaul, really, from discovery all the way to delivery.
Okay, so our mission here is to accelerate your understanding. We'll synthesize the core tech, the key capabilities, and importantly, those kind of non-negotiable steps for making this work.
And this isn't just theory. The results we're seeing are, frankly, staggering.
Yeah, things like achieving, what was it, 99.7% cold chain compliance,
Yeah.
preventing counterfeiting on a global scale, and hitting over 20% in actual cost savings. That's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this. When we say future ready, what does that really cover? Is it just about pouring money into R&D, or is it wider than that?
Oh, it's much wider. It's a total architectural shift. Yes, R&D innovation is always key, but the sources define this future-ready blueprint as equally impacting the supply chain, manufacturing, even patient engagement.
So a whole value chain perspective.
Exactly. The defining thing is moving from just reacting, ticking compliance boxes to being proactive, predictive, building in resilience.
And the engine driving this seems to be what we've called the big four technologies. Is that where the main focus is?
That's where the big bets are being placed, yes. We're talking AI and machine learning, the Internet of Things, or IoT, blockchain, and also digital twins, which maybe don't get as much hype but are incredibly powerful.
Right, not just fancy upgrades, but foundational layers.
Foundational intelligence layers, precisely.
Okay, we know AI is big in drug discovery, safety analytics, but let's focus on the operational side. How do IoT and digital twins actually work together in, say, a manufacturing plant? That seems complex.
Well, think of IoT sensors as the data collectors on the ground. They're tracking everything in real time, temperature, pressure, vibration.
Which lets you do predictive maintenance. Fix things before they fail.
Exactly. That's a huge part of it. Then the digital twin. That's the virtual copy. It could be a copy of a single machine, a whole production line, or even the entire facility.
So the digital twin is like the ultimate sandbox, the simulation tool.
Precisely. You can run what-if scenarios. What happens if we tweak this process? What if a supplier is late? You test it all virtually.
Without risking downtime or actual product.
Zero downtime testing, yes. It's revolutionary for compliance, efficiency, everything.
Now, beyond the tech, the sources also talk about big changes in how manufacturing plants are physically set up. Modular and flexible manufacturing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this is really crucial for agility. Traditional plants are often quite rigid, maybe designed for just one or two products.
Right.
Modular and flexible setups, though, they're designed to be reconfigured pretty easily. You can scale production up or down, or even pivot to a completely different product type much faster. Think about pandemic response, for example.
That sounds like a massive undertaking, though.
Yeah.
Huge investment, logistical challenges. What's the payoff?
The payoff is tackling the biggest weakness of the old model, speed, or lack thereof. Flexibility means faster launches, yes, but it also enables true end-to-end supply chain visibility.
So the physical agility needs the data agility to match.
Absolutely. If production can pivot quickly, you need integrated data flowing across every partner in real time. That allows for proactive risk management, not just crisis response.
Okay, so we're tackling supply chain issues, manufacturing. Does improving those automatically help the patient, or is there another digital layer specifically for them?
There's definitely a dedicated layer. Patient-centric digital services. Think sophisticated telemedicine, health apps, tools that connect different communication channels seamlessly.
And these are integrated back into the main pharma system.
Yes, they are. The goal is to improve outcomes through more personalized support and just make interactions smoother, building stronger engagement.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Theory is great, but let's ground this.
Yeah.
We need real-world examples showing actual value. Cold chain seems like a perfect high-stakes place to start.
It really is. And the challenge with the mRNA vaccines particularly was, well, unprecedented in scale and requirement. The Moderna case study is a fantastic example of IoT solving this.
It wasn't just better boxes, then.
Not at all. It was about embedding IoT sensors everywhere, at every critical point in the supply chain, getting that granular real-time temperature data.
And that constant monitoring delivered.
It absolutely did. They hit 99.7% compliance on maintaining that ultra-cold chain, which directly means less vaccine wastage, guaranteed product integrity, and ultimately safer patients. That's data-powered compliance delivering tangible results.
Okay, let's shift gears from temperature to tracking. Counterfeiting is a massive global issue. How does blockchain help build trust and transparency there?
Well, there's a great example from a major global distributor. They didn't just use blockchain for, digital paperwork. They physically integrated it with IoT tracking devices on the shipments.
So the digital record is linked to the physical movement.
Exactly. This creates this irrefutable, unchangeable log, a cryptographic chain of custody from end to end.
Meaning, if there's ever a question about authenticity or handling,
Hmm.
the blockchain has the definitive answer.
Precisely. It's tamper-proof. And what's interesting is that this level of transparency actually exceeded the regulatory requirements, like the US DSCSA and Europe's FMD.
The Drug Supply Chain Security Act and the Falsified Medicines Directive.
Right. Those mandate electronic tracking, but this blockchain approach provides an inherently more robust system. It makes recalls faster and helps block fake medicines.
I like that we're also seeing AI move beyond just the R&D lab onto the factory floor. Tell us more about AI in manufacturing quality control.
Yeah, there was a US-based manufacturer using AI analytics fed by sensor data right off their production lines, instead of just periodic human checks.
The AI is watching constantly.
Constantly. Looking for subtle patterns, anomalies that might indicate a quality issue before it actually happens and affects the product batch.
So it's shifting quality control from reaction-catching mistakes to proactive prevention.
That's the fundamental shift. And the results were tangible. Fewer recalls, faster batch release times because quality was assured earlier, and higher GMP compliance overall.
Good manufacturing practices.
Correct. The AI helped ensure consistent, auditable quality at scale.
Okay, so when you pull all these examples together, AI on the floor, blockchain in transit, IoT monitoring everything, the overall ROI numbers look pretty amazing. Sources mentioned 20% plus cost savings, 15–20% fewer quality deviations. That sounds almost too good to be true. What are the catches, the hidden hurdles?
That's a really important point. The ROI is real, but it doesn't come easy. The costs aren't just dollars, they're organizational. The sources really stress that hitting those numbers means overcoming significant inertia.
Like what specifically?
Two big things. One is standardizing data across all your systems, especially older legacy ones. That can be messy, complex work. The other, maybe even harder, is the organizational change management.
Getting people on board?
Exactly. You're asking teams who've done things a certain way for decades to now trust an algorithm to change their workflows. That requires serious investment in training and communication.
Right. It underscores that this needs a proper plan,
Yeah.
a systematic roadmap, not just buying cool tech. So for someone listening, thinking about starting this journey, what are those critical first steps?
Clarity first. Step one has to be defining clear strategic objectives. What are you actually trying to achieve? Is it speed to market, resilience, cost reduction? Be specific. Is it a 15% acceleration target or a 50% improvement in supply chain resilience?
Because the goal dictates the tools you need.
Precisely. You can't choose the right tech without knowing the destination. Then, step two is a hard look in the mirror. The comprehensive assessment.
What's our current state?
Exactly. Assess your digital maturity, your infrastructure readiness, and critically, your workforce's current skills. Where are the gaps? Where are the immediate pain points that a digital solution could fix relatively quickly to build some momentum?
Get some early wins.
Right. Only after that assessment can you build a realistic strategic transformation plan.
And that plan needs more than just tech deployment timelines, I assume?
Oh, absolutely. It must integrate change management, how you bring your people along, and also regulatory compliance from the start. And maybe the single biggest success factor emphasized across the sources.
Let me guess, people.
Investment in workforce upskilling and fostering digital-first leadership. You need leaders who champion this and teams who understand how to work with data and these new tools. The best AI is useless if no one trusts it or knows how to interpret the output.
That makes total sense. So once these systems are running, how do leaders track if it's actually working? Beyond just the bottom line, how do you measure something like digital maturity?
You need specific, measurable KPIs. One key metric is a process automation index. Basically, what percentage of your workflows are fully automated? This includes tracking things like RPA deployment.
Robotic process automation, the software bots doing repetitive digital tasks?
Exactly, taking that routine work off people's plates. Another crucial area is measuring compliance and data integrity. This is often tracked through audit success rate and, importantly, the ALCOA plus score.
Okay, LCOA plus comes up a lot in regulated industries. Break that down for us. Why is it so fundamental?
Because it's the bedrock of regulatory trust. LLCOA plus is an acronym standing for attributable who did what when. Legible can it be read? Contemporaneous recorded at the time it happened. Original is it the first recording or a copy? And accurate is it correct?
And the plus.
The pluses adds attributes like complete, consistent, enduring, and available. Basically, if your data doesn't meet LCOA plus A, regulators simply cannot trust your processes or your results, no matter how efficient they seem. It's non-negotiable.
Got it. And linking back to the factory floor, what about OEE?
Right. Overall equipment efficiency. OEE tells you how effectively your manufacturing assets are actually being used considering availability, performance, and quality. The sources show a really clear link here.
Right link.
High maturity, digitally transformed companies achieve significantly higher OEE. The figure cited is often around 1.75 times greater than traditional peers. Their OEE scores are consistently up over 60%, sometimes much higher. These metrics prove the operational value of the digital investment. But here's where it gets fascinating. These digital tools, while they enable compliance in many ways, they also introduce some really unique risks. Risks that regulators are honestly still figuring out how to handle, which raises a big question.
How do you navigate the regulatory minefield these new technologies create, especially AI and blockchain?
Exactly. Take AI. We want it for prediction, for finding patterns humans miss. But regulators need audit trails. They need to understand why a decision was made. This leads straight to the black box issue.
Because many AI models are incredibly complex, almost impossible to fully interpret their internal workings.
Precisely. They're optimized for accuracy, not necessarily for human explanation. That opacity is a problem for regulators who require transparent, documented, auditable processes. If you can't explain the why behind an AI's recommendation or action in production,
You could fail an audit, even if the outcome was good.
you could. It potentially violates requirements for validated systems, and the validation rules in pharma are already incredibly strict.
Like FDA's 21 CFR Part 11 and EMA's Annex 11.
Exactly those. They govern electronic records and signatures. Proving that a complex AI system meets those standards for reliability, consistency, and accuracy, that's a major validation challenge companies are wrestling with.
Okay, now let's switch to blockchain. Its core feature is immutability records can't be changed. That sounds great for integrity, but how does it square with privacy laws?
Yes. That's the central conflict, especially with regulations like the GDPR in Europe.
The General Data Protection Regulation.
Right. GDPR gives individuals the right to be forgotten, meaning they can request their personal data be deleted. But you fundamentally cannot delete data from a traditional blockchain ledger. It's designed to be permanent.
That sounds like a complete roadblock. How do companies even attempt to reconcile that?
It requires a careful, often hybrid approach. The key strategy is ensuring that sensitive personal identifiable information, or PII, is never stored directly on the immutable blockchain itself.
So what goes on the blockchain then?
You store pointers, essentially. Things like encrypted hash values or transaction IDs, metadata that verifies a transaction happened, but doesn't contain the sensitive PII. The actual personal data stays off-chain in secure, validated databases where it can be managed, modified, or deleted according to rules like GDPR.
Okay, so the blockchain provides the verifiable timestamp and integrity check, but the sensitive data lives elsewhere under traditional controls.
Exactly. It separates the proof from the sensitive content. This approach needs to be combined with really proactive engagement with regulators too, running pilot projects, seeking clarification, because the guidance on blockchain's official status is still evolving.
So let's try and synthesize all this. We've covered the new framework, the tech, the impressive case studies, the implementation roadmap, the risks.
Yeah.
What's the big picture takeaway? What defines this future-ready pharma enterprise at the end of the day?
I think it boils down to three things: agility, resilience, and predictive capability. It's moving away from rigid, reactive processes towards dynamic, data-driven ecosystems
Using everything from AI in the lab to blockchain and logistics?
to achieve not just better compliance, but also a fundamental acceleration in getting therapies developed and delivered. It's about reducing that time to market.
So the organizations embracing this aren't just ticking regulatory boxes anymore. They're actively building competitive advantage and operational superiority. They're shaping the future, not just reacting to it.
Well said. And the benefits are becoming undeniable. We talked about the cost savings, but also that acceleration development cycles potentially speeding up by 25%, maybe even 35%. That's transformative.
Which leaves us with a really provocative thought for you, our listeners, to consider. If these exponential technologies, AI, digital twins, advanced automation, genuinely succeed in dramatically lowering the cost and the time it takes to bring new medicines to market, what could that fundamental shift mean for global access? How would it impact the affordability of essential therapies for diverse patient populations all around the world? Something to think about.